And welcome to the Fresh Anointing Show. Thanks for joining us on another great day. We thank God for Him allowing us to see this day. And we're back with you again. I have with me my special guest for today is Reggie Singleton. He is the executive director of the Males Place there in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome to the show, Reggie. What's happening?
Greetings, Brother Jay. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. No complaints from the peanut gallery.
Oh man, it is always good to be in your presence, along with your audience from the living my best life. It's always good to be amongst you.
Yeah. Well, man, thank you for that. We give God all the praise and the glory. So, you got a big event coming up this weekend. As a matter of fact, I had your I want to say protege on. He aired yesterday, I think it was. Let me see if I can get this right.
Mm-hmm.
Mashari AJ Simmons.
Oh, awesome.
Now we have to make sure we help the family understand Mashari is a title, it's not a name.
Yes, sir. It's a title, and it means an advisor. It's comparable to what we call mentor. And so it's an African word. It means to counsel, to guide, and we use that word because it's African in nature and has a different meaning for us. And so it's a title, and what that means is he is been placed over a kingdom. So within our large group, we have 4 smaller traditional African kingdoms, and Mashari AJ is over the Nubian kingdom, which covers the areas of Kemet, or Egypt, as we refer to it as, and Sudan. And so he is responsible for 5 young men in the organization, and he calls them weekly to check in with them and serve what particular needs they may have. And we have 3 other Masharis and then 2 elders. And the elders are the older men in the organization that kind of serve as a they provide assistance and assist me and help me with a number of the overarching concerns, issues, and operations that we have. But Mashari AJ is an outstanding young man. He got his master's degree recently, and he is young but bright and incredibly talented. We're so blessed to have him on our team.
Yeah, he did an excellent job, man. He seems like he's doing a great job there at the Males Place.
Yes, he really is.
So talk to us a little bit. Tell us before we dive into the event, but tell the audience a little bit about what takes place at the Males Place. Kind of give us a little rundown.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's an old African proverb that says that when a boy is not initiated into the village, he will burn the village to the ground merely to feel its warmth. And what they're talking about is we as people of African descent have a time-honored tradition where we pull the boys aside, usually around 11 or 12 or so, and we socialize them. We train, we inculcate them on the obligations, the duties, and responsibilities of what it is to be a man, and also what his duties are in terms of the issues, the problems that he must solve, the challenges he must face, the burdens he must bear to meet the needs of us as a people. And so when we don't pro-socialize, we don't tell that young man who he is, and when we don't tell him, why he exists and don't help him find his purpose, he will literally burn the village to the ground trying to find himself. And if we don't teach him who he is and don't teach him his obligations and duties, he will look to others to find a place of belonging and a sense of identity, etc. So what we do is draw on thousands of years of time-honored African tradition, where we inculcate and train and instill the values that provide life for our young people, for our men, and their in our families. And so we teach them to be good sons, to achieve, to accomplish, to go out in the world and do good, so good, to get married, to become a father and a husband, and then to give back to our community. And so that's the basis of what we do at the community. And when we don't, again, socialize that young man, we've seen examples where they will literally burn us to the ground, burn the village to the ground, or kill us. And so this is an effort to, we've been very fortunate, very blessed. God's blessed us to provide us with the resources that we need, people, the elders and missionaries who have come our way to keep us sustainable. And so what we draw on then is thousands of years of time-honored traditions to do a rites of passage for these young men. Frederick Douglass also said that it is easier to build strong boys than it is to build a broken man, meaning that you must be very intentional about putting and pouring into young men, because if you don't, we're going to have grown men, who look the part, who may have suits and ties on with lots of degrees and all that, but they're broken and don't understand what their duty is. So we are taking the mantle, and we're very serious about what we do. We meet with these young men every Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. And we've been very fortunate for years to have good young men who understand, the elders, and some wonderful Black parents in our community.
Yeah, that's excellent. And when we go back to our forefathers back in the long, I won't even say back in the day. Back in the day is just a little short time ago, but
that's
long,
right.
Long time ago. That's what took place when you look at when our forefathers were in slavery. They would teach their children. They would teach them who they were, and to give them that knowledge and how they needed to move forward and be strong in what they did and be the best at what they did, and then even flow down to our parents. And but it seems like, well, not even seems like, it is, or it has gotten away from us. We're not doing that. We're not taking our children and sitting down with them and talking to them and teaching them and letting them know who they are, and especially our young boys. That is so important to help them to understand who they are and what their responsibilities are here in life. And I appreciate and applaud you for what you're doing there in Charlotte with the Males Place. And I pray God's blessings upon you as you continue that journey, and praying for the young men, the young boys that are turning into young men, that are going through that program, and that they will have that effect upon their peers and others that they come in contact with, that it will be that ripple effect, that it will keep going, that our society, our country, our nation will begin to change from this way of being, as you use that term, or will burn the village down. That's what's happening in our society, in our nation today. Killing each other, burning things to the ground. Even when we talk about burning to the ground, it doesn't necessarily, it's a metaphor. It doesn't necessarily mean physically, but it's a metaphor to say, man, we're just tearing everything apart. We're not really understanding who we are and why we were created to be here on this earth. And so again, thank you for that. Talk to us.
Thank you for that wonderful blessing too, Brother Jay.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. No
Mhm.
doubt. And
Mhm.
you're doing a great job.
Mhm.
Uh, Tell us about what's going to take place on this coming Saturday.
Well, we have three major tenets, Brother Jay, and the first one is Black manhood training or mentorship, and then the second is the agriculture, and the third is social justice. This coming Saturday from 8 to 12 at 1909 McAllister Drive, we will be installing our annual fall planting. And so we've been planting since 2009. And what we wanted to do with the agricultural piece was to solve some fundamental problems that exist in our community. And when we look at the chronic diseases that we disproportionately suffer from, diet-related diseases that we needlessly die from, um, and as well as particularly how COVID has highlighted, the load or um, the immune systems that's real low. And so, as opposed to merely talking about our challenges and our issues and problems, what we have done or decided to do is to teach young men one of the most basic primal responsibilities around agriculture. There's a long history and tradition of Africans growing and producing and processing and distributing food and then consuming clean, healthy food. But as you know, a lot happened to us in 1619 with the changing of our names, our religion, our diet, and everything else. And so we try to revert and reclaim some of this history and tradition around agriculture. Many people have misgivings and bad feelings about our enslavement and growing crops and sharecropping and tenant farming and certainly the exploitation of USDA and others, and rightfully so. But we want to have our young people reclaim this tradition of agriculture, and because we know when you plant food and when you plant vegetables, you're planting more than just mere vegetables. You're growing young men at the same time. So this is our annual fall planting. We grow twice a year. We grow in the spring and summer, usually in April. And then in the fall, we grow usually Labor Day weekend. And interestingly, we call it Labor Day when you're supposed to take off, but that's the day we're going to be working. The Mel's place work every day, all day, every day. We answer the bell.
All right.
So we're going to grow a wide variety of seasonal food. We'll grow collards, and that's Georgia and Vates collards. We'll grow a variety of kale. We'll grow romaine lettuce and Swiss chard and bok choy and of course turnips and mustards and just a broad variety of clean, chemical-free foods that's going to be available to our people, and we will be selling these, throughout the season. And of course, in December we have an annual collard green sale. We have a huge collard green sale that's going to be December 18th, Saturday, December 18th. And we make this food available. We either grow our own food or we partner with other Black farmers to make sure that we source good, clean food to make available to our people. And so this Saturday, we will be installing in-ground plants. In addition to growing in raised beds, we've added 13 more new raised beds to expand our production. And we'll have young men there that are in the program, in addition to young men who have gone through our program. They're coming back and they're going to assist us. And we're going to make sure that we pay it forward, and they will pay it forward because the blessings that they've had from our program previously, they want to come back and make sure that others are able to benefit from it. So it's going to be from 8 to 12, and it's 1909 Beatties Ford Road, 1909 Beatties Ford Road from 8 to 12. And we'll be planting a wide variety of plants and integrating that with some of what we'll be leaving in there that we planted earlier this summer. We planted lots of sweet potatoes, so we'll leave those until we harvest in October. We've planted lots of okra, and the okra is still producing. I don't know if you eat okra, Brother Jay. I know you fancy fellows don't eat a whole lot of okra nowadays, but
And yes, sir.
but
Yes,
I could eat
sir.
some okra all day, man.
Oh,
We've got
yeah.
lots of okra. And we grow other stuff too. We grow a lot of other cultural stuff, lots of peppers, a variety of peppers. We grow garden eggs, eggplants. We have herbs. We grow hibiscus and even some cotton. And we grow, well, we got two big cotton plants.
Wow.
And had a young man who asked one day, how did this country get so rich and what created the wealth divide between the blacks and the whites? And so I said, well, it's certainly not because, we're dumber or whites are smarter, but it has a lot to do with why they brought us over here for free labor. Can you imagine working for somebody for hundreds of years
Mhm.
and not being compensated, not being paid, no time off, no sick leave, no pension, no wages or salary or nothing? And so cotton was king. And so they'd never seen cotton. And so we try to be real hands-on with these young men. These are young men that you got to be hands-on with. You can't just philosophize so much and be above, light touch kind of thing. You got to show them what cotton is. In fact, when the cotton is ready, we'll even let them pick it. And sometimes the cotton boll, BOL, is what holds the white fluffy cotton inside. And a few of them have pricked their fingers. And so, I ask them, it's a great opportunity to say, well, can you imagine having to pick, 100 pounds of cotton per day? And cotton is real light. So you got to pick 100 pounds per day. And your fingers are getting all pricked and prodded and bleeding from coming in contact with the cotton boll. And so it is a comprehensive hands-on experience for them. And they get to feed and serve a lot of the seniors in our community. So this is going to be big for us. It's in a long history of us planting our fall crops. And then we'll do, in late October, we'll do a celebration of our harvest. And that's called our Blessing of the Harvest, our annual Blessing of the Harvest. We showcase the garden and we have people come out. We do garden tours. We provide food and provide lectures on food sovereignty and on Black farmers and cooperative economics and those kinds of things. So this is big for us this weekend. And so people can come out and they could actually participate and plant if they wish, or we could give them some quick briefings and lectures on why it's important that they know how to and why they should support African-American farmers, and particularly the Mills Place and other initiatives like ours.
That's excellent. So how can the community engage with you and also the churches? How can churches get involved as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, churches has a wealth of land, first of all. I mean, in fact, when we look at our land ownership throughout our community, the churches are very fortunate. I think Friendship, which is a local church, has over 100 acres of land, and for the most part arable. And then there are others that have lots of acres. And so we're always looking for ways to expand our production. So any church that would be interested in partnering with us and allowing us to lease their land from them, to grow food, to feed their own congregants and to educate their own congregants, because we can't just pray and then tell them to go and beg for their food, go to the food banks and beg for their food. So we want church folk as well as unchurched people to come out and participate and or learn to purchase our wares, our produce, to sponsor some of our young people in the organization and pray over our organization. Prayer does work. Prayer is important. And So we look forward to our churches being supportive, and not only to ensure that, again, that the parishioners are consuming clean, healthy food, but also where they are engaged and in the community and with young people. I mean, we get the best of both worlds. Not only are we growing food, but we're growing young men as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. Now, you mentioned earlier about really getting a lot of people that was supporting you. So if someone wants to donate to the Mail's
Yes,
Place, how would they do that?
Yes, sir. Our website address is www.themailsplace.org. www.themailsplace.org. And you can go to our site, and we have a donate button there. You could make a donation on our PayPal website, or you could send a check to themailsplace.org, P.O. Box 16184, Charlotte 28297. P.O. Box 16184, Charlotte, North Carolina 28297. We also have Cash App for those of you that are savvy, tech savvy. So there are a number of ways in which you could donate. And, we just can't take things for granted either. We've been very fortunate to be able to sustain ourselves without significant funding from the government or a whole lot of foundations. But it is certainly church folk, spiritual people who put their spirituality into practice, and they write checks to us. Most of our donations come through private donors, people who value and appreciate what we do, all through some of the proceeds from our sales and fundraisers that we have. We don't just ask people for donations without working ourselves. And so our young men, the elders, and the parents, they get behind the organization, and they really, really push. And it's beautiful to see our whole team, our whole family operate in that kind of way, because I think we really want to develop these young people to be, again, to understand what their duties are, not just what their personal responsibilities are, but to the broader community as well. And so we would love financial support. We would love resources. We would love land. We would love your support when it comes to our fundraising efforts. And this helps to make sure that we keep these boys off the street, that we train them, and ultimately they won't hit us in the head and take our cars and broke into our homes, and have babies before they're ready to take care of them. And we gotta make sure that we're working with these kids, and you can tell many of these children when somebody's working with them. You can tell the differences. And so it's just not going to happen by chance. And we have to be very proactive, very intentional to say, we're going to make sure we support organizations like the Mail's Place and others that are working with our children.
Yeah. Intentionality is the key. We have to be intentional. And so once again, we really, really appreciate you and what you're doing and there in Charlotte with the Mail's Place. Thank you for being a part of the Fresh Anointing Show. Tell us one more time about the event coming up this weekend, the address, the time, and how people can get involved.
It's the fall planting. It's this Saturday, the 4th, and it's from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's at 1909 McAllister Drive. 1909 McAllister Drive. My phone number, should you need to reach me, is 704-713-3824. 704-713-3824. Website again is www.themailsplace.org. Brother Jay, I want to thank you again and the Fresh Anointing. and for your time and your consistent support. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And on behalf of the parents, man, we really appreciate you.
All praises due to God, and we thank him for that. And we'll look to catch you on the next go round. We'll try to keep up with you and see what's happening there at the Males Place. So we appreciate you. Family, thanks for joining us. And don't forget about the event coming up at the Males Place this coming Saturday. That's September the 4th. And that is 2021.
Yes, sir.
That's not next year. That's this year, September the 4th,
right.
2021, from 8 to 12. So get out and engage and get a chance to meet Reggie and his team and all the young boys and young men and their parents and everybody that's really helping to make this a successful process and event for the Males Place. So tell your family, tell your friends, tell everybody about what's getting ready to happen there on this coming Saturday at the Males Place. So until next time, may the Lord bless you real good.